Prologue: A Queen, a Secret, and the Flame That Couldn't Destroy the Truth. March 24, 1603. The hour was late. Inside Richmond Palace, the dying Queen of England lay draped in silk, her once brilliant eyes dulled by age and time. Outside her chamber, the courtiers waited. Breath held, power plays rehearsed, already whispering of succession. Elizabeth Tudor, the last of the great Tudor monarchs, had ruled for nearly 45 years. And now, death had finally come for her. But as her body withered, a different sort of drama unfolded in the shadows. Behind her chamber walls, two men stood near the fire, holding a letter written in the unmistakable, slanted hand of the Queen herself. Its seal had been broken. Its contents read aloud, and what it revealed could shatter the myth England had worshipped for decades. It was a confession, or perhaps a final act of redemption, and its subject, a child, a son, the woman behind the mask. To understand the magnitude of this letter, one must first understand Elizabeth. She was never supposed to be queen. A mother was beheaded and declared illegitimate, outcast, forgotten. But fate had other plans. When her sister Mary died, Elizabeth ascended the throne in 1558, a woman in a world ruled by men. From the beginning, she knew that to survive, she had to become more than human. She had to become an icon. So she forged a legend. She powdered her face in pale white like a living statue. She wore stiff collars to hide the toll of age. And above all, she vowed to remain chaste. She would be the virgin queen, married only to her kingdom. She rejected suitor after suitors, dukes, princes. Some begged, others threatened war. But she always refused. Love was weakness. Marriage is a trap. At least, that's what she told the world. But what she felt for Robert Dudley, her childhood friend, her favorite courtier, the man who once lived in rooms beside her own, was no courtly affection. It was something deeper, something dangerous. Whispers spread through the court like wildfire. Late-night visits, secret trips to country manors. Doors locked from the inside. And then, in the summer of 1561, something strange happened, the disappearance. In the year 1561, something unusual, almost unthinkable, happened at the English court. Queen Elizabeth vanished. No proclamations were made. No royal illness was announced. No diplomatic crisis justified her absence. One day she was presiding over matters of state with sharp wit and royal authority. And the next, she was simply gone. For nearly 6 weeks, the sovereign of England secluded herself at Woodstock Manor, a quiet, ivy-draped estate nestled in the Oxfordshire countryside. It was peaceful, removed, and, not coincidentally, owned by none other than Robert Dudley, the man whose name lingered on every courtier's lips in hushed, knowing tones. The official explanation: there wasn't one. Within the palace walls, confusion turned into silence. Servants who'd long tended to the Queen were suddenly dismissed, not with ceremony, but quietly, in groups. Palace guards were rotated with suspicious regularity. Letters were intercepted. Doors once open to favored advisors were locked. And then there was the Queen herself. When Elizabeth returned, it was as though some invisible veil had fallen over her. She was thinner, paler, her usual spark, that firebrand intellect and razor-sharp, tongued, seemed dulled. She avoided the eyes of those closest to her. She had aged, not in years, but in weight, the weight of something unspoken, something heavy. She had no explanations, no excuses. The court, ever loyal to discretion, asked no questions, but they whispered. Was it illness, melancholy, a private grief, a miscarriage, a birth? In the absence of answers, rumors took root like ivy on stone and refused to let go. What had truly happened in those shadowed halls of Woodstock Manor? Why the sudden silence? Why the guarded secrecy? Why did Robert Dudley vanish from court at precisely the same time? The truth remained buried beneath layers of loyalty, fear, and political survival. But then, in the year 1587, nearly a quarter of a century later, a voice emerged from across the sea. A stranger, shipwrecked on the coast of Spain, claimed to know what happened behind those locked doors and curtained windows. His name was Arthur Dudley, and if what he claimed was true, it meant that the story of Elizabeth's disappearance was not one of illness or retreat, but of birth, exile, and a legacy the crown had desperately tried to erase. The Shadow Prince. He washed up on the shores of Spain after a shipwreck, a quiet, scholarly man named Arthur Dudley. At first, he was thought to be a lost merchant or minor noble. But when Spanish agents interrogated him, his story took a strange, treasonous turn. He claimed to be the illegitimate son of Queen Elizabeth I and Robert Dudley. The Spanish, amused and intrigued, documented every word of his testimony. Arthur told them he had been raised by a noblewoman's family, under strict instruction to never speak of his origins. Only later, as he traveled and investigated his lineage, did he begin to uncover clues, hidden letters, midwife records, payments from the crown. "I was born in secret," he told them, "and I have lived my life in exile." Was he lying? Mad? A political pawn? Or was he telling the truth? The letter resurfaces. Fast forward to 1603. Queen Elizabeth's body was failing. She had stopped speaking, stopped eating. Her attendants claimed she sat motionless for hours, her finger clutched around a single ring, a locket containing two portraits: her mother, Anne Boleyn, and Robert Dudley. And then, just days before her death, a trusted handmaid, Mistress Ellen Hart, approached Sir Robert Cecil, the Queen's chief minister, with a letter she had found hidden beneath Elizabeth's mattress. Its seal was personal, not official. The wax bore no crest. Inside was a single page of trembling handwriting. The Queen had written it days or weeks earlier, in one of her rare lucid moments, and it was addressed simply, "To my son." She spoke of love, shame, and the impossible choices she had made. Inside, there was a single item, a scrap of parchment, yellowed with age, the edges singed by fire, bearing the fragile, wavering signature Elizabeth R. Back in England, the winds of power shifted. Queen Elizabeth died without naming an heir. The crown passed to James VI of Scotland, the son of Mary, Queen of Scots, the very cousin Elizabeth had executed decades earlier. The Tudors were no more. The age of the Stuarts had begun. History, ever selective in what it preserves, turned its gaze forward, and Arthur Dudley became a footnote, a phantom, a curiosity mentioned in dusty papers, a fever dream of the past. Historians argued, dismissed, speculated, but never proved. Yet beneath the cobbled floors of Oxford's famed Bodleian Library, deep within a restricted archive known only to a few, lies a fragment most scholars will never see. It is faded, brittle. The ink is smudged, nearly lost to time. But the hand, that unmistakable, looping script, still breathes across the page. Just 3 words. Words no fire could fully consume. "To my son." We remember Elizabeth as the most powerful woman of her time. Brilliant, brave, untouchable. But perhaps she was something even more remarkable: human. A woman who loved, a woman who bled, a mother who made the ultimate sacrifice, not just to protect her child, but to protect a nation built on illusion. If this untold secret of the Virgin Queen intrigued you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment your thoughts below. Do you believe Arthur Dudley was real? Let's unravel history together.